Now you were recently in Cannes. Was that for this documentary?
No, that was for our TV shows, like help selling the TV shows around the world. You go to distributors and uh, you know present the Wiggles. We've got so much over the years, like the original Wiggles and our the eight we call them now, which is the new Wiggles. And that was really great, mate. It was apart from being in that incredible part of the world, it was just nice to uh, you know try and get the Wiggles out, even out around the world still.
It's incredible that after, you know, 30 odd years of, this enormous success that the Wiggles is something that even still needs to be marketed. Like surely everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, you really do have to though, like around the world, and because we've got 32 years of content, uh, you got to remind people that we've got brand new content, and it's the grown-ups, the adults who make the decisions, and they've moved on from the Wiggles, because the kids aren't there anymore. So we've got to remind them what we're all about, and we got so much positive feedback about our new Wiggles, with gender balance and Sahai more representative. We've got Sahai from Ethiopia, Johnny's Filipino Australian, and et cetera, et cetera. It's been great, mate. Yeah.
It's funny. One of my questions was reflecting that, like, whenever the Wiggles lineup has changed, there always seems to be this backlash because people have got you with this nice little box of this is no, no, this is what I grew up with, this is no, this is how it is, and it seemed hilarious. I remember the Batuta Advocate had a field day when all those conservative talking heads were complaining about the new multicultural Wiggles, and I'm like, yes, he preferred it when the Wiggles were four men living alone in a house with no women.
That's it's actually funny. I saw the documentary the other day, which is and they that they have footage of all that time. It hasn't aged well, I don't think. But even though it was only a couple of years ago, it's quite incredible that what for what reason would they say don't expand? Don't it's anyway.
It,
Look, the whole
it
point about sorry, Tom, I was just going to say the whole point about apart from these people being representative and all that stuff, they're just so talented. So High's 5 times world salsa champion and just a wonderful personality. Johnny's, Justice Crew. Lucia was at the Australian Ballet School for 3 years, and she plays a mean set of drums. And Katharina's just been rocking it for years and years, and Evie's Australian Ballet. Like these guys are talented as well as representatives.
so what was it? Was it strange for you? What kind of emotions did you have watching the documentary for the first time?
Yeah, we were given a preview to watch at our homes a couple of weeks ago. The good thing about this documentary is we actually had no say in it. It was, because there's a New Zealand company and they made it, and so they told the story how they saw it, which is great. Like, but I was worried about, like getting triggered or spiraling out of control. Just watching it,
Hmm.
going, oh, blah, blah. So I didn't watch it, but I did. I rang up our our, our, our manager and I said, "Oh, you have seen it? It's good. Yeah, great, great." Like I pretended I'd seen it. So by the way, that's my dog is going nuts for some reason. But so when we actually when I saw it the other night was the first time, and I was really worried about it. I just didn't know what because people who aren't there actually don't know them or my truths or my. But telling you, it was so brilliantly done that you cry, you laugh, it's all the emotions there in the story, and as rightfully it should be because it's people, we're people, and so no, I loved it. I actually loved it, and I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, good man. I'm glad that. Yeah, because I must admit, I kind of saw that coming, and as I was writing these questions, I'll be like, "I'll bet he hasn't watched
Yeah,
it."
yeah. I didn't want it. I did not want to go in. I
Yeah.
didn't want to see it. I just thought, oh, I don't need to see it. It's not my truth. It's not me.
Mm.
And I just didn't want to. But I did. I went in, and I liked it. Yeah, it's like Anto did an interview, and he did a painting of me, and that painting is covered with cloth uh, up top of it. The Wiggles warehouse. I think I'm going to put that up. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't want to see that. Freaking hell. I don't want to see that.
I remember you saying that when it came time for the reveal, and you're like, "Oh, I just enjoyed the chat."
Yeah, yeah, and that's true, mate. That's true. And not bagging anyone who did do the chat with Ian and put it up. Different personality types, like
Mm.
yeah. And he's a good guy, man. He's a good
Oh,
guy.
so good. Yeah, bless him.
Yeah.
So what now? I bring this up because this is actually how you and I met in person first time. Is you do your folk gigs with the Unusual Commoners. Now, I feel like performing for adults because I just assumed it was going to be you and maybe a few people from the Wiggles band. I get there and the whole Wiggles is there getting on the gas,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
feel like having an adult space, and being able to just take a step back and not have to, be so considerate of words and just have some time to be adults is a really important thing for your mental health. Would you
It's
agree?
so. I agree with you, mate. I love what we do in the daytime and the shows for the children. But yeah, you have to be very considered and you have to be very responsible. And you have to know, you know, yeah, there's a real responsibility with that. And but at night time, we're all grown ups, and we did a really great gig at the Elbot Cambo in Canada recently. The Unusual Commoners. We've never we've played so many gigs and we haven't taken 1 cent for it at all. If we make any money, it'll go to charity, and
Hmm.
it also makes it fun. And all the Wiggles, everyone on tour comes down. Our sound man jumps on stage. He's a brilliant bass player, guitar player, everything. Anyone who's anyone like Aaron Shembry, he's a great guitar player from Victoria. We were playing in Geelong. We were doing one in Geelong, and Aaron rang up and said, "Hey, I've got a gig down there, mate. You guys reckon I could come over and just jump on when I finish?" We've made, of course. And it's become like that. It's just, we can't wait. But what we recently did in Toronto, we got to know the local Indigenous community in Toronto. And, mate, they are just the best people. Randall, one of the elders, came and made a speech before the gig. And during the gig, we're saying, guys, if you've got some cash, just put it in an envelope down there. We've got an envelope. At the end of the night, we had this envelope. None of us counted it. It was this big.
Wow.
And we gave it to the local representatives. And mate, for them it wasn't, and for us it wasn't how much money was in there because none of us counted. It was just that people actually cared to go and do that.
Mm.
So it was really great. It was. Yeah, mate. I love the Commoners. It's just a lot of fun, mate. And I've seen you there, Tom, a few times, mate. It's always been good.
It, it's funny, man. I was had because obviously I haven't drunk in over 5 years, but I had this. I tried some like zero alcohol Heineken, and I noticed throughout the night it kept reappearing in my hand, and I was like, I'm drinking on the Wiggles credit card.
That's funny, mate. That's good.
That is like the ultimate dad win. I'm like, yeah,
Mate,
and my wife resents me because she does karaoke and she's always wanted to get me up on the mic. And I tell her the only person who has ever managed to get me to
yeah,
sing
you
on the
got up there,
microphone
mate.
is Anthony Bloody
Yeah,
Will.
yeah. Yeah, tell me about when you have the zero alcohol. Is it like, socially, you're having a beer?
Yeah,
Do you get a mental, I'm having a beer, I'm having fun?
it was interesting for me. It was I just don't go to to pubs really since I quit drinking. Unless I'm going to a gig, it's just not something. If I don't have the distraction of live music, I will just not go to a pub because
Yeah, yeah.
why would I do that to myself? But I have noticed, yeah, it's a social crutch because A, you've got something in your hand. B, you're not walking around with a glass of water in a pub like a weirdo. So you look like everyone else, and and God save me, it tastes like beer. It's bizarre. I was there
No,
going,
mate.
wow, like,
Mate, because I saw you that night. I was like, oh, he's back on the, he's having a few drinks, and yeah, fine,
yeah.
mate. I was like, I didn't even know that was zero alcohol.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Fantastic.
that was
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know who was picking up the tab for him, but they kept reappearing at
Oh,
my
yeah, it's the
head.
Wiggles, mate. It's the Wiggles. We always, yeah.
So one person who really impressed me when I first met her that night was Tashay. And I just had the absolute shock of my life when I just Googled her and realized that she's only 17. I'm like, so she joined the Wiggles at 16 years old. That is crazy to me. How did that come about?
Well, so I was born in Ethiopia, and look, I hope I don't get the facts wrong, but I think about 6 weeks old, she was at a orphanage, and her mother gave her up because her mother couldn't cope, and you know, and so uh, Robin and Reggie, two Aussie parents, well, they came and adopted Sahai, and um, mate, you can't get a more absolute loving family. They're so proud of it, and she so loves them so much, and she wants to return to Ethiopia and make a. She's been back a few times, but it's part of her heart, and she's so mature for her age because of what she's been through,
Mm.
and she's got the best parents who keep her grounded, and she's got all the talent in the world. There's thing that happened to us in the last, years, and she's in our shows. We in Australia we do our shows. First time ever we've got African Australians in the audience, and one time there were so many in the audience that Simon and myself got like really teary after the show, and that was just beautiful, man. But she's just her name means sun, the sun, and she really is a ray of light. But you're right, she's 17 years old, and her
Yeah.
mum comes with her everywhere. So, and Robin, her mum, is just, that could be a nightmare if you had a stage mum who was
Mm.
on tour with you all the time. And she's the opposite. She's just a loving, beautiful person. And when Sai turns 18 and Robin doesn't have to be on the road, we're going to miss her actually so much.
What's
Yeah.
it been? Well, speaking of, what's it been like working with your own daughter? And how did this come about? Who had to convince who?
Mate, okay, so how it worked in the family, you kind of, you don't mean to pigeonhole people, but Maria, my daughter, who's just graduating this year from school, she was we called her the actor singer, and she's an amazing singer, and she's an incredible actor. Right. So that was her. She's the singer. And in Lucia's, down at the Australian Ballet School, she's the ballerina, and she played drums. But because we look in the living room, like this is the lounge room, there's guitars.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a piano, and there used to be a drum kit until Vicky, my wife, demanded that it goes downstairs, so that's gone. But that was there. And so kids always had. Look, right next to me is the Bazooki. So, so there's always music. There's always music there. And Antonio, by the way, he's a gun drummer and a gun guitar player, but he doesn't want anyone to know that. Like he's one of those kids that just does it without. If I walk in, he stops. So fair play to him. But the same with she. I never knew she even sung. I had no idea. And our sound man, our sound man was recording. We did on our Re-Wiggled album, we did Lime Cordial's Apple Crumble. And Lucia was in the studio and she got in and she just naturally did harmonies on it. Like, I wasn't even there for that, right? So I didn't know. But long story short, we needed another Blue Wiggle. And I was thinking, who? And our sound man went, why don't you try Lucia? She's a great singer. And I went, what? And he said, she sings. Unbelievable. And I had not heard her sing. So it really came from our sound man, Al. And then I went to Lucia and said, would you like to do it? And she actually first went, I don't know, Dad. I don't, none of us ever thought about it. Anyway, long story short, she's loving it and she's doing a great job. She played drums the whole night. The other night at the Unusual Commoners, her drumming's come on so much, and is singing. So she's rocking it, mate. I'm very proud of her.
Oh, that's beautiful, mate. What you mentioned Judy first in that email, and I thought of an interesting question while I was in the shower. Anthony, what is the role of infantry? Can you still remember it?
Oh man, regardless, all I remember is regardless of inclement of weather, and oh man, I would get killed if but it's 40 years. Can you recite it for me?
Of course. The role of infantry is to seek out and close the enemy, still capture him, to seize a whole ground for a full attack by day or by night, regardless of season or terrain.
See, I remember the regardless.
Yeah, that was the part I always hated, particularly when it's just absolutely pissing down rain and you go.
Yeah, and you know what? and when you were out there and it was doing that, as a piss take, people would recite that little bit. That's why I remember it.
You're just sitting in 4 inches of mud. Oh,
yeah.
Bless.
That's great, mate. I'm going to relearn it. I'm in disgrace, mate.
I have 2 guest questionnaires coming in now. They're very small. They've unfortunately
no worries, mate.
They aged out of the Wiggles, but it's funny. Like, as I said to them, it's like, wow, you couldn't have held on for a few years until after I became mates with one of the Wiggles. It's like, you got your kids back. No, 1 minute, mate.
To be a Wiggle?
How's it feel to be a Wiggle?
Yeah.
It's really, mate, it's so good because the Wiggle world is so happy, and people who come up and recognise you as a Wiggle, they're always happy to say, hey, even when they're like yourself, when they've grown out of the Wiggles, they still remember how much fun it was. They go, hey, how you going? So I love it, mate. It's really fun, Abby. Good question.
Did you notice he's even wearing a blue shirt?
I did that on purpose. Yep. I think underneath it, what is it?
White.
Olive drab.
Nice. Beautiful. Macy, what was your question? Which Wiggles video do you love the most?
That's a great question, Max. We did one before your time where it was animation in the early days of animation, and it's called Space Dancing. And look, things have come on along. Yeah, well, things have come a long way since the way we did. But we had to wear ping pong balls on our bodies, and they did all that stuff. But I love it. It's very old school animation.
I love it. Yeah, we had a huge collection of all the old school Wiggle stuff. And you know, the funny thing is, the kids love the OG lineup. Those really early ones, that early live video you guys did in Sydney, way back in the day, and there's a giant apple comes out, and you're like, oh, this is going to take me 5 years to eat it, and all this stuff, and Jeff got lost,
Where's Jeff? Do you know the original Wiggles had a genuine quirkiness, a genuine absolute madness about us that was real.
Yeah.
There was something special about the OGs.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Good on you.
Oh, bless them. Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
mate.
Going to get me cool dad points. They're going to go to school
Yeah.
and go, my dad knows the Wiggles. And I'm like, no, he
Yeah.
doesn't. It's like, well, actually.
Yeah.
Mate, this has been awesome, mate. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very busy man, so
Oh, not all time. Thanks, mate. And all the best. Always great speaking, mate.
no
Yeah.
worries. See you next time. All
Mate,
right.
I'm going to relearn the role of the infantryman.
See you, bud.
What about regardless? That's all I remembered. Regardless.
See you,
See you,
bud.
mate. Bye.